people think about a destroyer, they usually imagine a fast warship packed with missiles and radar systems, slicing through rough seas somewhere in the Pacific. But the U.S. Navy's planned next-generation destroyer, known as DDG-X, is aiming to be much more than that. This ship is being designed as the future backbone of the fleet, replacing older cruisers and eventually taking over from some of the legendary Arleigh Burke-class destroyer vessels that have dominated the oceans for decades. And unlike many naval projects that simply improve on older designs, this one is being built around the idea of future warfare, a battlefield where hypersonic missiles, drones, cyber attacks, and even laser weapons could become normal parts of combat at sea. At first glance, the DDG-X looks like a natural evolution of modern American destroyers. It carries the same aggressive stealth-inspired profile, the angled surfaces designed to reduce radar visibility, and the unmistakable image of a heavily armed warship ready for high-intensity conflict. But under the surface, this vessel is very different. The biggest change starts with the ship's size. Early estimates suggest the destroyer could displace around 14,000 tons or more, making it significantly larger than current destroyers in service. That extra size is not just for show. It gives the Navy more room for weapons, fuel, cooling systems, electronics, and future upgrades that may not even exist yet. One of the most talked about features is the ship's integrated power system. On older destroyers, power generation mainly focused on propulsion and existing electronics. But the DDG-X is being designed with massive electrical reserves from the beginning. That matters because future naval combat is expected to rely heavily on energy-intensive systems like directed energy weapons, advanced sensors, and high-powered electronic warfare suites. In simple terms, the ship is being built almost like a floating power station. The Navy wants enough energy available so the vessel can support technologies that are still years away from operational use. And that brings us to one of the most exciting aspects for military enthusiasts: laser weapons. While Hollywood often exaggerates futuristic weapons, real-world naval lasers are already being tested. The challenge has always been generating and managing enough electrical power aboard a warship. The DDG-X is expected to solve much of that problem. Imagine a destroyer capable of firing precision laser beams at incoming drones or missiles at the speed of light, potentially reducing the cost per engagement compared to expensive interceptor missiles. That concept alone changes the economics of naval warfare. The missile capacity on the DDG-X is also expected to be impressive. The ship will likely continue using the proven Mk-41 vertical launch system, but with room for larger missile cells in the future. That flexibility is critical because modern missiles are getting bigger, faster, and more capable. The Navy wants this destroyer to launch everything from standard anti-air missiles to long-range strike weapons and even future hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic weapons are particularly important because they travel at extreme speeds while maneuvering unpredictably, making them very difficult to intercept. By building a destroyer ready for these weapons from day one, the Navy is preparing for conflicts that could define naval strategy over the next several decades. Radar and sensor technology will probably be one of the ship's strongest advantages. Current U.S. destroyers already use the advanced SPY-6 radar system, which is capable of tracking multiple threats simultaneously across huge distances. The DDG-X is expected to expand on those capabilities even further. In modern warfare, detecting a threat first often determines who survives. This destroyer is designed to operate as a command and control hub, processing enormous amounts of information from satellites, aircraft, submarines, drones, and other ships in real time. Instead of simply fighting on its own, the vessel becomes part of a massive interconnected combat network. For everyday viewers who are not deeply familiar with naval combat, think of it like this: older destroyers were powerful individual fighters, while the DDG-X is intended to function like the central processor of an entire battle group. It's not just carrying weapons. It's collecting, analyzing, and distributing battlefield information constantly. That level of connectivity is becoming essential in modern military operations where decisions have to happen within seconds. The ship's survivability is another major design priority. Modern anti-ship missiles are deadlier than ever, and naval warfare has entered an era where even smaller countries can threaten billion-dollar warships with advanced missile systems. Because of that, the DDG-X is expected to feature reduced infrared and acoustic signatures, meaning it will be harder to detect using heat sensors or sonar. Noise reduction is especially important when submarines are involved. The quieter a surface ship is underwater, the harder it becomes for enemy submarines to track it. There's also a strong emphasis on automation. Future destroyers are expected to operate with fewer crew members than older vessels. That reduces long-term operating costs and can improve efficiency on board. Advanced automation systems will likely handle many maintenance and monitoring tasks that previously required large crews. However, fewer sailors also means each crew member may carry more technical responsibility. The DDG-X is expected to be a highly digital warship where software and systems management become just as important as traditional seamanship. The design philosophy behind this destroyer is fascinating because it reflects lessons learned from previous programs. The Navy's Zumwalt-class destroyer introduced revolutionary ideas but faced criticism due to rising costs and changing mission requirements. The DDG-X appears to take a more balanced approach. Instead of reinventing everything, the Navy plans to combine proven combat systems from existing destroyers with a new hull and upgraded infrastructure. In other words, it keeps technologies that already work while creating enough room for future innovation. One thing viewers immediately notice about concept images of the DDG-X is its sleek appearance. The ship looks cleaner and more streamlined than many traditional destroyers. Angled surfaces, enclosed structures, and reduced external clutter all contribute to lower radar visibility. Modern naval warfare increasingly depends on detection ranges, and stealth features help ships survive longer in contested environments. While the DDG-X may never be invisible, reducing its radar signature could make enemy targeting more difficult and buy precious reaction time during combat. Performance-wise, the destroyer is expected to have excellent range and endurance. That matters because the U.S. Navy operates globally. Whether it's the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Middle East, or Arctic waters, these ships need to stay deployed for long periods without constant support. Increased fuel efficiency and better power management should allow the DDG-X to remain at sea longer than many existing destroyers. In a potential conflict against a near-peer adversary, endurance becomes a huge advantage. Another major selling point is adaptability. Naval technology changes quickly, and one of the biggest problems with older warships is limited upgrade capacity. Once a ship runs out of electrical power, cooling capacity, or physical space, modernization becomes extremely difficult. The DDG-X is being designed with growth margins in mind. That means engineers are intentionally leaving room for systems that do not exist yet. It's essentially future-proofing the ship as much as possible. This adaptability could also include unmanned systems. Future naval warfare is expected to involve large numbers of drones operating above and below the water. The DDG-X may eventually coordinate fleets of unmanned aerial vehicles, autonomous surface craft, and underwater drones. Instead of fighting alone, the destroyer could function as the command center for an entire robotic network spread across the battlefield. From a strategic perspective, the DDG-X represents more than just another warship. It reflects the changing priorities of the U.S. Navy. Competition with countries like China and Russia has pushed the Navy to focus on high-end warfare against technologically advanced opponents. That means future destroyers must survive missile saturation attacks, electronic warfare, cyber threats, and increasingly sophisticated submarines. The DDG-X is being